Question. The last 2 years I have been so severely spiritually attacked that I could not even leave my house some days. But now I'm at the end of it, I feel. What was the meaning of all this? I'm not a special or important person at all, and yet I was so heavily targeted by the spiritual realm I thought I was going to die. Well, I'm not sure if I understand the question correctly, because I would say that you wouldn't be targeted by the spiritual realm, you would be targeted by dark forces who are beyond the material but not in the spiritual. As I've explained, we have everything is an energy continuum, and the densest energies make up the physical realm, but then there's the emotional, mental, identity realm, and then beyond that, the spiritual realm. So it's not uncommon, and I've met many people on the spiritual path, and myself included, who are attacked from beings in the emotional realm or the mental realm, who are projecting lower energies at us, projecting thoughts at our minds, and seeking to derail us from our spiritual growth. So you are saying that you are not a specifically or special or important person, but that's according to a worldly standard then. You're saying, according to a worldly standard, I'm not a special or important person. But if you take my videos about avatars, avatar psychology, I'm saying that most spiritual people who are into spiritual movements, open to spiritual teachings, they are avatars. That means we came from a natural planet to Earth, volunteered to come here to hold a spiritual balance for Earth. And that makes us important in the eyes of the dark forces, because they see us as a threat. Because we know that the Earth could be a natural planet. It could be better than what it is. Whereas many among the original Earth inhabitants, they are so beaten down by conditions that they don't think they could be improved. So for the dark forces, you are an important person in the sense that they want to keep you from making spiritual growth. They want to keep you from reaching a higher connection to a higher self, which is what we can call personal Christhood, leading to potentially Buddhahood at the higher levels. So I talk about in one of my videos how there are 144 levels of human consciousness, and the spiritual path means we are rising towards the 144th level. And the higher we rise in consciousness, the more of a threat we are to the darker forces. I explained all of this in my video about how the world was created. So I would say that all spiritual people are targets. There are some spiritual people who might have, in past lifetimes, they might have sort of made a deal with the devil, where they say, well, if I don't attempt to raise my consciousness beyond a certain level, you'll leave me alone, right? You won't attack me. And so I have met spiritual people who say, oh, they don't believe in dark forces, they never experienced any dark forces. But that's because the dark forces don't attack them because they don't seek to raise their consciousness to a dangerous level that's dangerous for the dark forces. So those of us who are growing spiritually, we are targets, and to varying degrees, but we're all targets. And so on the one hand, it's important to recognize that you are being targeted, but on the other hand, it's also important not to go into thinking that, oh, I'm so special, that's why they are targeting me, and therefore I don't have to look at myself because I'm just so special. And I've seen people go into that reaction as well. But the reality is that you are being targeted because you are a special person, but the reason why you are feeling the attack is that you still have a psychological mechanism that makes you vulnerable to the attack. And that's what I explained in several videos. I call this the subconscious selves that cause us to react. So, you know, the meaning of these kind of attacks is that, well, first of all, you need to become aware that you're being attacked, you're being targeted. You also need to become aware as a second step that there's something you can do to protect yourself from it, namely invoke light from the Ascended Masters, Archangel Michael, the Elohim Astrea. But then third of all, that the attack shows you that you have some work to do on your psychology. You have to resolve these subconscious selves that make you vulnerable to these attacks. So I would always look at this as a It's a wake-up call that you have a higher potential, that's why you're being targeted, but you're not there yet, that's why you feel the attack. So if you reprioritize your life and make it a priority to resolve your psychology, resolve these subconscious selves, then you can step up to a higher level of service where you fulfill a higher level of your life plan, where you can give the gift that you determined you wanted to give before you came into embodiment. So I would look at it this way, that this is a wake-up call, focus on your psychology. I've given quite a number of videos about this. I also have websites that talk about this. I have books that talk about it. So there's a lot of teachings given by the Ascended Masters on how you can overcome these subconscious selves. And then focus on that. If you are really have felt you were under attack, I would actually recommend that you start by reading the book called My Lives with Lucifer, Satan, Hitler, and Jesus, because it talks about some of these things in there. And it will probably be helpful for you to, you could actually experience a shift in consciousness by reading that book. And there are also other books in the series, there are one called Healing Your Spiritual Traumas and 3 other books in the series that help you specifically heal and overcome these subconscious selves. And I think you would find that very, very liberating to use that material and really do that work to overcome these separate selves you have left that made you vulnerable to these attacks. Because that's really the only way you can make sure that you don't get attacked again at some point.